Now, in order to make sure that you have a well-formed key result, you need to make sure it's measurable. Now, another practice that has been switched in the industry is to actually separate the metric from the key result. And the reason we've switched a little bit, because we used to always try to combine these into one statement to make it easier for people. What we found is that people were confusing the metric, the target, and the actual key result itself. And let me explain the difference. A metric is how you measure something. So if I'm going to figure out how to measure my key result, I should always be able to ask the question you see on the screen in front of you. I should ask myself, how can I quantify the result? And or the characteristics that represent successful attainment of the result. And sometimes it's a count, sometimes it's a percentage, but however I can quantify it, that's the metric itself. Now, a target is a certain level. And usually when I reach a certain threshold, it has a certain meaning. So I can agree to measure the number of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches I make for lunch. But I may have a target of 10 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so we want to make sure that you differentiate the result itself, lunch, from the metric, the quantification of the sandwiches, from the target, which I chose 10 in this case. And the reason why is often quarter goes on, I get information, the forecast may change. Well, if the forecast change, my key result that I want is still the same. I still want lunch. The metric I'm using, counting up the number of sandwiches, still the same. The only thing that changed was my target. So perhaps instead of 10, I found out I had supply chain issues and I can only produce 5. So that's the only thing that needs to change. The rest of my strategy is still the same. And we've been separating those things because we want to show stability in the strategy. And if the only thing that changed is the target, then let's differentiate the key result from the target so that you can see the continuity in the strategy itself.